Swamin Namaste Natalokabandho Karunya Sindho Patitam Bhavabdhau Mamuddharatmiya Kataksha Drishtya Rijvyati Karunya Sudhabhivrishtya Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. So we all go back to Kurukshetra, where the Mahabharata war is being fought, and on two sides the soldiers and warriors of Kauravas and Pandavas, they have taken their place, and in between Krishna has brought the chariot which is charioting for Arjuna, because Arjuna asked to be at that place. So Arjuna is very grief-stricken, has lost all confidence, all courage, and he is cryingly telling Krishna that I will not be able to fight this war. Krishna initially scolds him and then starts giving his gospel. And the gospel is for what? To gain back the courage and confidence and fight the war. Now whatever Krishna said, that is not for Arjuna alone. It is for all times, for all ages, and for every human being. Now, when one listens to any such gospel or the words of wisdom from the gurus, what should be the attitude? The attitude of a shishya, or attitude of a student should be like this. He says, he feels and he tells the teacher that, oh teacher, you have the knowledge of the self. And the knowledge of the self, it is not only just a knowledge for you, you have experienced it. And that knowledge is very, very cool, and it is very pleasant to hear. It is very sweet. Also, the knowledge is in the form of wisdomful words, nectarine words, which as if you have got in a pitcher. So, please pour these words on me so that I get drenched in them. This is a shloka from Viveka Chudamani, where the shishya, the student, is telling the teacher that please pour these words of wisdom on me and make me drenched so that I become cool. My mind is absolutely turbulent. I always find that I have a lot of tension and anxiety, lot of fear. I feel as if I am indecisive in many areas. I am confused. Sometimes I even feel that I am being uprooted and I am thrown away somewhere. Darkness is around me at times. So please rescue me by telling me the words of wisdom. The words which are not only words for you, it is an experience, and you have experienced the blissfulness of the self by which you have become liberated from the shackles of the mind. So what is this liberation? Liberation is liberation from the shackles of the mind. We feel that we are constricted, we are bound, we are chained. Every day the same thing, getting up in the morning, then trying to do all the work that awaits us every day, taking bath, wearing a dress, eating food, going to the office, or whatever work is there, the same thing over and over again. And at the end of the day we sleep. Is this a life? Is there anything higher than this? That is what the students of spirituality, they ask the teacher. And here also, Arjuna is asking the same thing. Maybe his question is not exactly this. He is saying that I am very grief-stricken. I am non-confident. I am lost my courage and confidence. So please tell me something. And Krishna is trying to tell him whatever will make this Arjuna get up and take his bow and arrow. And ultimately, what is that? Yesterday we have discussed that only when we know the self, we hold on to the self, we will have calmness of the mind, stability of the mind, we'll have unaffectedness and fearlessness. And that is what Krishna is telling. Now, Krishna right in the beginning has told him what is this self. The self is eternal, imperishable, it is immortal, it has no change, it is changeless, it has no birth, it has no death, it is unaffected, it is fearless. All these things he has said. He says that neither it has birth nor it has death. So it remains always. It's not that it was earlier there and it will be there in the future. It is always there. Because of this constancy, it is everywhere, and that is what we should hold on to. That is what is our real nature. We think that we are this body, but actually we have a body. We are not the body. We are the soul, and that soul is changeless, immovable, unaffected to the core. So Krishna has been telling all these things to him. Then he says that, O Arjuna, to know this self, you must be fit for it. And the first thing that he has said is that sama dukkha sukham dhiram so amritatvaya kalpate. That is, you must take this dukkha and sukha, happiness and unhappiness, to be with equal vision. That is, you should be flexible. You should not be too elated when you are happy. You should not be too depressed when you are unhappy. You should have an equal vision, equal attitude towards both. Then only you will become fit for liberation from the shackles of the mind. So Arjuna asks him that what is this samatva, etc., and asks him, O Krishna, you are talking about self-experience. So please, can you tell me who is that who have experienced the self and how they behave? What does it mean to be a sthita prajna whose consciousness is stable, whose buddhi is stable? He is a sthitadhi. Please tell me. And can you tell me how they behave in this world? What do they talk? What do they do? Arjuna is wanting to know. Yesterday I explained to you, because whenever we find some good qualities, we should try to learn them. So Arjuna also feels that if such a person is there, who is unaffected in life, how does he behave? Let me also understand so that I can pursue this path and I also reach that goal. So that is how we started understanding. And Krishna says right in the beginning that, O Arjuna, such a person has no desire. All the desires and expectations of the mind, he has completely renounced. We suffer because we have expectations and desires in the mind constantly. That also we discussed yesterday. You leave aside big desires, that I must have this or I must have that, either objects or money or fame, name, anything. Little desires and expectations we have. What? People should be praising me. People should talk to me nicely. People should not blame me. All these are small expectations. But even these expectations from others, husband will expect a wifely behavior from the wife. Wife will expect such a behavior from the husband. Children will have their expectations from the parents. Friends will have similar expectations between themselves. So these small expectations of the mind, which are also desires, actually it gives us lot of suffering if we are not having equal vision towards them. That is, we are moderate. We accept what comes, we allow whatever goes. We are flexible in our attitude. You think that we not only things that we want to possess, we are also having lot of possessiveness towards our ideas, our views, our attitudes. We want to hold on to them. So initially he said, all kinds of desires from the mind, desires and expectations, one must remove from the mind, and one must have santushti, that is, one must be satisfied within himself. All the outside objects, they do not give happiness for long, they always come and go. So one must learn to tap the happiness which is of the self. Yesterday I was telling you that there is a fountain of delight inside us, which does not depend on any object. Otherwise, you just introspect and find out. You will find that all our happinesses depends on either objects or places or people. All are external things. Internally we have a joy which is of the self. That is why, when we have deep sleep, we feel so refreshed. When we get up, we say that, oh, I slept very well, and we feel so refreshed. What happens actually? In our deep sleep, we are embraced by the self, where we come to know our own happiness, which is independent of any other object. This happiness is depending only on us, our own self. It is its own spontaneous happiness. That is why we feel so refreshed. So every day actually we are going to that state. We are going to that state, we have deep sleep, then it is broken by dreams and other things, then we get up. But that period when we are in deep sleep, we are embraced by our own self, we are blissful, we are understanding. When we get up, we feel also, for some time I was in deep sleep, I did not understand anything. But we are not able to retain that blissfulness. Why? Because the mind becomes turbulent. So that is what in the next slokas Krishna is telling. So Krishna is telling that this is what you should be. You should be happy and contented, satisfied within yourself, not looking for external happiness and only going after external happiness. We are always looking for that, and although we get suffering sometimes anxiety, sometimes tension, still we will do the same thing over and over again. He also said, Astitadhi, whose intelligence is stable, he will never be agitated by any kind of unhappiness, any kind of misery or sorrow. Similarly, he will not unduly invite and welcome, I want to be happy always, I want to be happy always. That kind of feeling also will not be there. He will be moderate. Let happiness come. As long as the happiness is there, I will be okay. If the happiness goes away and some sorrowful episode happens, that also I will accept and I'll get reconciled. That will be his attitude. And Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. He should be above attraction, fear and anger. So these three, he said that these are the qualities. Then he said that one must be, now to have this is not easy. We know that our mind is always restless. And what happens actually? Our senses are there, the senses are always going out and trying to allure us with many other things. The 5 senses in 5 directions it is going, engaging with each corresponding object and telling us enjoy this, possess this, like that. Now, all these things, if we really indulge in, we know ourselves, always it is not good for us. It puts us into trouble. It makes our mind all the more restless and agitated. So, Krishna said that, oh Arjuna, you must know how to become like a turtle. The turtle, when all the limbs, etc., head, everything is outside, is walking about. As soon as it finds some danger is there, it simply retracts and goes inside. So, we too should understand what is not good for us and withdraw. How will we understand what is not good for us? We should apply our intelligence. Our intelligence will tell us what is good for us and what is not good for us. In this world, always, the world comes with us with two baskets. One is Shreyas and one is Prayas. What is Prayas? Prayas is that happiness which is short-lived and will remain for some time and also immediately had. And what is Prayas? Shreyas? Shreyas is the ultimate good. We may not even know that it is the ultimate good, but there is an ultimate good which we have discussed yesterday, that holding on to the self will be the ultimate good because it will make us unaffected and fearless in our life, will give us absolute calmness of the mind, absolute peacefulness of the mind, and absolute happiness of the mind eternally. So that is the ultimate good. Naturally, we all want to be like that, but since we do not know how to go about it, we are always looking after and being quite satisfied by this happiness which does not remain. We try to look for that only, we get it, again we lose it, again we become unhappy, again we get something, again we look forward to something else. This is how our life goes on. But Krishna says you should be like the turtle. You should understand what is good for you and what is not good for you. Say for the eyes, what you should look at and what you should not look at. What scenes or reading what or seeing what, your mind becomes agitated, takes you away from your central core, your Atma. You may be doing contemplation, you have got the knowledge of the self, you may be reading something, you have been listening something, some lectures, maybe contemplating, but you allow your eyes to see certain things or read certain other things by which your mind becomes agitated. That should not be. Then whatever you have gained has gone. So your buddhi should help you to make decisions so that you understand what is good for you and not good for you. Similarly for all other senses, whether it is smell, whether it is hearing, whether it is tasting, or whether it is touching, for everything we must use our intelligence to understand what is ultimate good for us and what is not good for us. Good means what? Again that, remember this, the spiritual good, ultimate good, what is supremely good for us, which is like always, being in the embrace of the Atma. Prahlada says, he's a young boy, he used to always, because he is devotional, so he talks about God. He used to see God everywhere. And whether he was sitting, he was walking, he was eating, he was lying down, he was talking, every time he felt he was embraced by the Lord. Govinda parirambhitaha. He would always feel that he is surrounded by God, he is embraced by God. I think all of us would feel that whatever we are doing, we should be having a feeling of divinity around us. Why do we go to temples? Because we find a divinity. Why do we have pujas and worships? We feel a divinity. Why do you come near and realize master or sadgurus? Because you feel a divinity. So that divinity is what actually we are wanting. You leave aside Atma and all that. We don't even know what is the self. We don't even know how to go about it. But what is actually where we are wanting? We are wanting that kind of a placid mind, that kind of a holiness, that kind of a purity, that kind of a blissfulness, which is ours and will remain with us ever and ever and ever, whatever we do. So this is all which our scriptures are telling us. And this is where we can go, we can reach. And our effort should be to go towards it. And how will we make the effort? How will our effort be genuine and committed? When we love it. That is why yesterday also I told you, love this, love that aim. What is at the end? What is the destination? What is going to give us? Love that. then you will find the whole journey will become so nice, so sweet, so enjoyable, so blissful. So, he said like this. Now, after that, Krishna is saying, he's given great warning to Arjuna right in the beginning. He says, Arjuna, this is very important that you restrain your senses. And he says that, see, even the wise people, the discreet people, and who are striving, that is making effort to go towards a spiritual goal, even for them, these senses which are strong and turbulent, they are able to somehow manage the mind to go another way. However much you try, maybe you are quite into it, you are liking it, but these senses are so strong and turbulent that they have a power. They will be very insistent, always alluring you, showing you, see, so many things to enjoy. Come. Maybe you want to come for the one satsang, your mind and your senses will show you something, remind you something. You can go there, your friends have come there, you can go and chit-chat a little bit, you will feel very light. Why go and hear all these scriptures which are very, very heavy for the mind? So, 2-3 times you will think that, okay, no, I will go for the satsang. Then after 4th or 5th time you think, yes, let me go. Let me go for an outing, let me go and eat together. So senses have that much of strength. And it says that all these senses, they have, for each sense organ, attraction and repulsion towards the objects are natural. Some things they like, and some things they will not like. Each sense organ. We like sweet, we don't like bitterness. We like very soothing scenes, we won't like something which is very, very, what to say, not very good to see. You feel afraid to see it. All those scenes we will not like. Similarly, for all the sense organs, there will be something which will be opposite to each other. Either you will be attracted or you will be repelled. So, but these attraction and repulsion, what are they bringing about? Happiness or unhappiness. Whatever you are attracted to, if you get it, you are happy. Whatever you are repelled, if you get it, you are unhappy. And suppose you get something, you have got it also, whatever you wanted, you have got it also, fear now, it may go. So, these are constantly happening. So, never come under the sway of the sense organs. So, you have to be very careful. Always be very, very introspective and discriminative using the intelligence. That is why one must be intelligent and use the intelligence. And we should use our intelligence. Why not? We have been using our intelligence everywhere. We have studied, we have got educated, and God has given us this intelligence. Amidst all the creatures that God has created, we, the human beings, we are different from other creatures. All creatures, they have some things in common. Sleeping, eating, and progeny. It's common. But human beings have been given intelligence by which we can discriminate. We can think by the mind and we can decide, we can discriminate using the intelligence. So we must use it and understand that we should not come under the sway of the sense organs. And the sense organs, whenever it's trying to delude us or allure us, we should be able to make a stop there. Because consider them to be the stark enemies. Stark enemies. Now, I don't know how you are taking it. Is it a bombshell? Because you feel, oh, is it enemy? So shall I not take good food? Shall I not wear good dress? Shall I not go and move about? Everything you should do, but using the intelligence. What is good for you ultimately and what is not good for you. Sometimes you give some license, okay, whatever is not good also do for some little time. But knowing that, that is not good. It's not that we have to be like this and walk like this. No. Sometimes, so there is moderation. So Krishna has said, Yuktahara viharas. Everywhere there should be moderation. What you eat, what you do, what you think, for everywhere there should be moderation and flexibility. Moderation and flexibility. Then it says that, see, for every sense organ, the sense organ cannot do anything by themselves. The mind has to be there. Mind has to go along with it. Alone it cannot do anything. Alone it cannot fool you. Why? How the mind will always be with it. Say you are sleeping. Somebody comes and opens your eyelid. You are in deep sleep. Open the eyelid and shown you a very beautiful flower. Next morning you are asked, did you see the flower? Very beautiful flower. What will you say? But your eyes have seen it. Eyes were open. Why you do not know about it? Because the mind was not there. Mind was sleeping. Similarly, when the mind is, say, you are very upset, you are having a lot of dukkha, at that time you will not be able to enjoy anything. Very good food which you like has been given to you, you will not feel like taking it. You will not even notice it. So unless the mind is there, the sense organs will not be active. So who has to be restrained now? The mind. The mind has to be restrained first. And unless it is done so, the mind always goes with the sense organs. I told you they are very turbulent, they are very insistent, they will be constantly alluring you. If the mind is not restrained, what will happen? The mind will go behind it, and wherever it should not go also, it will go, and you will be suffering. And the example given is that it is just like in an ocean, when there is strong wind and a boat is there, as the very strong wind will carry away a boat and will drown it. The mind, if it goes behind the wandering sense organs, the condition will be like this. So Krishna says, Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha. Vashehi yasya indriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. He says that, O Arjuna, restraining all these senses, remaining self-collected, that you restrain, you remain within yourself, you try to dwell upon your own Atma, and you restrain the senses, and focusing on me, that is, the focusing on God, the Supreme. Sense also you restrain the senses. In that case, your mind and intelligence will be stable. That is what we are doing. Tani sarvani samyamya, restrain all the senses. You be steadfast in my thought, that is in your own self. You take seat in your own self. Consider me as the Supreme, God as the Supreme. Then in that case, you will be considered a stable-minded. Your buddhi will become stable. Here this one word is there, mat paraha. Consider me as the Supreme. Krishna is telling Arjuna. Who is Krishna? Krishna was Arjuna's friend. They were cousin brothers also, but friend. But Krishna, he is that self-realized teacher. You understand? He has realized. That is why he is able to give the gospel. He is able to teach Arjuna. So he is one with the self. So Krishna says that I am the Supreme. So you completely consider God as the Supreme, and you restrain all your senses, restrain your mind, then your prajna will be, your intelligence will be steady. What we wanted? We wanted calm mind. The topic is how to attain the calm mind. How will the mind become calm? Now, one thing is that, along with this, we are saying that we will be able to have a calm mind eternally calm mind, eternally stable mind, only when we are able to experience the self. Why is it so? What is the relationship between the two? You know? Our real identity is we are the self. Then why is it that we don't understand it? Why is it that our mind goes here and there? Why is it that we are under the sway of fear, affectation, affliction, etc.? It is because though our real self is changeless I, imperishable I, we are not able to understand it or experience it because of all these raga and dvesha, that is the likes and dislikes, this turbulence of the mind, various tendencies of the mind. Just like, suppose there is a vessel of water. The vessel is also very clean. Water is also very clean. And you have put a pebble inside that water. And you look. We'll be able to see the pebble very clearly. Sometimes when we look, we'll be able to see ourselves very clearly. Suppose there is a very nicely polished mirror, very well cleaned mirror. There we can see our face very clearly. But in these two examples, suppose in the water we put some dust particle or mud. What will happen? The water will become muddy. And when we look, will we be able to see the pebble? No. Because the water is not clear anymore. We will not be able to see our face properly. Similarly, in that mirror, which is very nicely cleaned and polished, suppose we put some dust particles, smear some dust particles over it, and we start looking into the mirror, we will not be able to see us. It happens, no, when if you don't put on the exhaust and then you have used hot water, the mirror becomes very foggy and hazy. We won't be able to see our face. That exactly happens when the mind is turbulent, mind is having lack of calmness, intelligence is not steady. Our mind also, the self is there inside us, but it gets revealed when the inside is absolutely calm. Absolutely calm. And when will that calmness be? When there will be no agitation, when there will be no disturbance, when there will be no affectation. And where from this agitation, disturbance, affectations come? Only when we start desiring things. We feel that I have not had this, we are not contented, we get annoyed with somebody, or we are impatient with somebody, we start criticizing somebody. So we are allowing and giving scope to the mind to get into a lot of turbulence and disturbance. So to hold on to the self, which we are, which is our real identity, to be able to have eternal calmness of the mind, eternal stability of mind and intelligence, we have to purify our mind, make it very stable, very clear, very pure, devoid of all kinds of desires and possessiveness. So why Krishna is telling all these things? He is saying that your senses are making your mind agitated. If you give indulgence to the senses without restraining them, you will be finding that your mind is always agitated. So the first warning is that be restraining. Restrain the senses, restrain also the mind. Otherwise, the mind will go behind the senses. And who will restrain the mind? The intelligence. Intelligence has that power to restrain the mind. How will it do it? Intelligence has the power of discrimination to constantly tell the mind that no, this is not your path, come back. This is good, this is not good for you. Constantly telling that this is a path of shreyas and this is a path of prayers. That is, if you think like this or you do this or your attitudes are like this, then you will be treading the path which will give you ultimately eternal happiness, eternal stability. And if you go the other way, you will not. So this intelligence is able to hold the rein for the mind. And for that, the intelligence have to constantly be enlightened. Enlightened by what? By the self. By the thought of Brahman, by the thought of the self, by the thought of God. That is, from our thoughts. I started yesterday with the nature of our mind. Constantly thinking, crisscross, crisscross, crisscross. And Krishna has said, this thought process ends only when the body falls. Otherwise, as long as we are conscious, our mind will be making thoughts. So these thoughts have to be turned. Turned where? Now we are thinking only of the world, only of the family, only of the possession, only of the property that we have, or the money that we have, or what we want to achieve, the qualifications, the name, fame, prestige, all those things. Our mind is only there. Our thoughts are there. Now we have to turn it. Turn it towards what? Turn it towards your own self. Our thoughts, our mind, everything was towards the externals. We have to learn to turn it towards our own inside. In Viveka Chudamani, there is a very beautiful sloka which says, Anatma chintanam tyaktva kashmalam dukkha karanam chintaya atmanam ananda rupam yan mukti karanam. That is, anatma chintanam tyaktva. We are not thinking of the Atma. Yesterday I was telling you, we know this is my name, this is my house, these are my parents. So many things about us we know and we never forget it. And we are constantly thinking about all those things. We are not thinking about the Atma. How much time we are thinking about the Atma? Maybe some of you who have taken to some spiritual pursuit or routine, you may be spending 1 hour or 2 hours in a day. Baki, rest of the time, where? Rest of the time is always in the world. Other things. These other things are called anatma, that is not atma. So anatma chintanam tyaktva. Tyaktva means rejecting, renouncing, throwing away. So this chintanam, all the thoughts which are not dwelling on the atma, leave aside. And you should think what? Chintaya. Please think. Scriptures. Like a mother they say, please think. Chintaya atmanam ananda rupam. The atma's ananda rupa. The ananda that atma is, it is delightful. And it is not decoratedly delightful. Any other decoration will simply become stale, old. After some time you will have to remove it. It is your spontaneous decoration. Atma has spontaneous delight. Chintaya atmanam ananda rupam. Think about that. Think about that. Oh my children, think about that. Yan mukti karanam. Which is the cause of mukti, liberation. Liberation from where? Liberation from the shackles of the mind. You understand? So, yesterday I was telling that these words, I don't know when I was telling, these words are the experience of the seers, which they have written in two lines. See, this book has so many things written here. If I read, I may not be able to remember all these prose, but I'll be able to read. If I by heart the poem, I'll be able to remember. And these, they are the seers, the realized souls, they have written these in the form of poem. Their experience, their bliss, their delight, which has got generated, which emerges from the self. Yo antas sukha antararamaha tathantar jyotirevayaha. Antas sukha. There is a sukha, there is a happiness. This is also from Bhagavad Gita. There is a sukha, which is antas sukha. Anta means what? Antam is inside. O yo antas sukhaha, antararamaha. Yo antas sukho antararamaha, tathantar jyotirevayaha. Sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhuto digacchati. Yo antas sukhaha. The one who is satisfied by his own bliss which is inside. For him, other things becomes very, very faded. It doesn't have any taste anymore. And he tries to, once he gets a little touch of it, he tries to get it more and more, more and more. So, antas sukhaha, antararamaha, and he lives with inner happiness, not happiness from outside. Our all happiness is from outside. Even this satsang is a happiness from outside. We are speaking, you are listening, and maybe you are becoming happy. I don't know whether you are becoming happy or not. It doesn't matter to me. But little. So, it is antararama, it is with inner happiness. Then revels within himself. Antararamaha. Yo antasukhaha is inner happiness. Antararamaha is reveling within himself, is guided by his own inner light. Antarjyotihi. That is, you never feel dark. There are moments in our lives when we feel darkness around. We really don't understand what is to be done. Everybody encounters that kind of a stage. But such a person will not feel like that. Maybe such situation will come, but he will not feel the darkness around because there is antarjyotihi. Sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutodhi gacchati. And that kind of a seeker, that kind of a devotee, he becomes the Brahman, the self. That is, he understands and experiences the self. He gets the redemption, liberation he gets. So, right in the beginning, he has said that this is what, Arjuna, so you have to be very, very careful that your mind is restrained, your senses are restrained. Then he explains how when we allow our senses to go to the objects, what happens? How we are destroyed completely. How we just go away from the path of felicity. So he says, Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranasyati. He says, this is how it happens. Why I am telling you about the senses, that it needs to be restrained, they need to be restrained, is because when we start engaging our sense organs, it's interacting with some object which is corresponding object. And we are allowing our mind also to go behind it. Then we know that, oh, such and such thing is there. Oh, it is so. Oh, such a thing is there. Either it can be an object, it can be a person, it can be a situation or a place, anything. So we keep on thinking about it. Sangasteshu upajayate. Thinking about it takes a place in our mind. Then we start thinking about it. See, you can relate it. This is what happens. And dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha. So, we get attached to that item or object because once the sense organ consistently allure us, slowly we start thinking about it quite often. Suppose it is an object, you want to get it. Then we become attached. Whatever we do, thought comes. We have to get it. We have to possess it. or we must go there, and then only I'll be happy. That Sangha comes. It is called Sangha. That is delusional clinging. A clinging takes place. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. And if at that point we do not restrain our senses and the mind, but we indulge in it, slowly that delusional clinging becomes such that we start feeling that I must have it, I must possess it now. So by hook and crook, even though it's not easy to do, even though it is not necessary to get, mind will not be satisfied till you get it. So sangat sanjayate kamaha, that desire, the extreme intense desire gets formed in the mind. So you are not able to do anything else till you get that. Kamat krodho bhi jayate. And then what happens? Suppose your wish is not fulfilled, you do not get it, then krodha, anger. Either you will blame the situation, or you will blame the object itself, or you will blame yourself, you will blame everybody on earth, and you will be, your mind, by all this what has happened, the mind has lost its calm. This is what happens. Now, when we read this, we must relate. And from the very next moment, when you feel that your mind is a little turbulent, it is a little restless, try to think, what is the cause? What is the cause? Is it necessary, what I am thinking? Is it necessary that I think about it so much? Or is it simply I let it go? Whatever happens, I will accept. Most of the time, whatever is in our mind, whatever we want to do, we want to plan, we will be giving our mind so many thoughts. We will think that, oh, maybe I will not be successful. Imagining that I will not be successful, you have spent a lot of time. You have become depressed. You have lost your sleep. But it is all imaginary. What have you done? You have allowed your senses and mind to go behind it. So, what should our discrimination do, intelligence do at the time, right in the beginning? Discriminate. Is it necessary? Yes, you have done, say you have a project, you have done the project, or you are doing the project, you are going ahead with it. Unnecessarily, why should we think, suppose it doesn't succeed, suppose I am not praised, suppose I am criticized, suppose I am blamed. Is it necessary? No. You do your work with full heart and soul, excellently, with full efficiency, full liking, even though if you don't like it, you do it with your liking, joyously. And then let us see what happens. This is called samatva. That is samabhava towards success or failure. Not thinking that, oh, if I succeed, so many people will praise me, I will get a promotion, my name will be here, everybody will know my name. That is also imagination. Similarly, suppose I don't succeed, that is also imagination. Why should we think like this? So, anatma chintanam tyaktva kashmalam dukkha karanam. This anatma chinta, which is not on the soul, all other things, which give only sorrow. Kashmalam dukkha karanam. The cause is dukkha. And what you should think? Chintaya atmanam ananda rupam yan mukti karanam. So he says in this shloka, this is chapter 262 I am doing. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate. So when we start thinking, reflecting upon the sensory objects, begin the clinging towards them. We are seeing the objects and we start getting a clinging feeling. From that crops up desire to get it. Then flares up hatred and anger. Hatred towards those whom you think that have hindered your success. You will be hating them. You are getting angry. And since you did not get what you wanted, there will be anger. Now there is further. Krodhad bhavati sammoha. When we become angry, I think we all know what happens when we are angry. We'll talk what else not to be talked. We'll fling words which we do not want to. Later we will repent. But once it's gone like an arrow. We'll behave in such a manner which should not be done. So, krodhat bhavati sammoha, delusion, absolute delusion. And deluded, we completely behave in a most unwanted manner, most undesirable manner. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha. That is, we become deluded by krodha, by anger. And because of that delusion, extreme delusion, smriti vibhramaha, who am I? What is my status? To whom I am talking? Should it be talked like this or not? When we become angry and deluded, even to our elders, we will talk such bad words. We'll behave wrongly with others. So, smriti vibhramaha. We completely forget what we are supposed to do. Smriti vibhramshat buddhinashaha. And because of that, it is, we get strong delusion from which arises forgetfulness about oneself, which leads to loss of discrimination. Smriti vibhramshat buddhinashaha. Discrimination gone. What is buddhi doing? What is intelligence given to us? Why intelligence is given? To use it to discriminate between good and bad. That power will be gone. Buddhinashaha. And buddhinashat pranashyati. And then follow total distraction. Distraction means what? Distraction not that we die. Distraction is that we feel repentant, we feel sorry, or we feel more angry. The whole thing becomes bad. The mind is completely gone. And ultimately what it brings? Dukkha. Dukkha. All these emotions, sentiments, either it will be sukha or it will be dukkha. Either it will be happiness or unhappiness. So, buddhinashat pranashyati. So, Krishna tells Arjuna in a very, very intense manner that this is what will happen if you do not restrain your senses and also restrain your mind. Then he says, but Arjuna, you will be able to have a stable mind, very calm mind, if you do like this. What? That is the next sloka. It's a very important sloka. There is the 64th sloka of Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyaicharan atmavashyair vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. It says, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu. So, Arjuna, don't be afraid. There is a way out. I am telling you what happens when we do not allow our senses to be restrained or mind to be restrained. But there is a way out. When you can have calm mind, you have to go beyond raga and dvesha, attraction and repulsion, likes and dislikes. You understand? All our sufferings, all our agitations are because of our likes and dislikes. We like this and we do not like this. We always want what we like, and we like also what we do not like, we do not want it at all. So this strong likes and dislikes is the root cause of all our misery. And why it is so? Because of the desires and expectations. We expect certain particular situation. We want particular behavior for some people. We have particular attitudes, views. We hold on to it. See, even if you become, you learn how to deal with people, even difficult people. Suppose somebody is very difficult, you are not able to manage with that person, you will be a little away from that person. What about your own mind? I think that most of the suffering comes because we hold on to our attitudes, our views. And when we are working together, we feel this is the right way to do. When we have to work in a group, we'll feel, my viewpoint is the best. And then there will be only suffering. there will be quarrels, there will be problems. So, ragadvesha viyuktaistu. Arjuna, rise above both. Samatva. Have equal vision. If something is attractive, don't too much go for it. If something is you do not like, then okay. Somehow accept it. This acceptance and reconciliation. If you have that, then remaining in the midst of all kinds of alluring objects, you will still be able to have placidity of mind, prasadam. How? You must also restrain your mind and restrain your senses. That is, we are in the midst of the life. Krishna is not telling Arjuna to have placidity of mind, to have calmness of mind, you have to go away. Because we know that our interactions bring in lot of misery to us, affectations to us, all because of interactions, all because of actions that we do. We are constantly interacting with objects, people, places and all that. And there comes our difficulty. We are not able to accept people. We are sometimes hating people. We sometimes do not like what we have to do. All these situations, likes and dislikes, they agitate our mind. But where can we run away? Can we run away from the life? We cannot. We have to live in this life only. We have to live in this life, but still we must have a calm, peaceful, nice mind. So he said that you can do it. Learn how to go beyond these likes and dislikes. So that is a pursuit. We hear it, but if we pursue it, then we will get it. So how is the pursuit? That he will tell later. So pursuit is this, go beyond likes and dislikes. And also learn to restrain your mind and restrain your senses. Because they are the ones which are taking you to the objects, and immediately as you go to the objects have likes and dislikes, raga and dvesha, and your mind gets agitated. This is what is happening. But if you learn that remaining in the midst of objects, you go beyond raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, attraction and repulsion, you will have placidity of the mind. Very beautiful. With senses brought sufficiently under control, hence freed from the grip of attraction and repulsion. He who deals with world objects with self-restraint, that is mind restraint, attains placidity of mind. This is what we want, placidity of mind. And you know what happens when placidity of mind is attained? Prasade sarva dukkhanam, the next one, hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryevatisthate. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate. When that placidity is there, all the sorrows get removed. Why is he telling this to Arjuna? Arjuna is grief-stricken. And why is it relevant for us? We are also grief-stricken. Everywhere. In our family, in our work spot, in the society, in the world at large. Now and then we are grief-stricken. So, prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasya upajayate. In such placidity, dissolution of all sorrow will take place. And one with such placid mind, the intelligence becomes poised and stable. Our topic is this, calm mind and stability and calmness of mind. So when the mind is very placid, that is, no ripple is there, no disturbance is there. The mind becomes very placid, soothing. At that time, intelligence also is very stable and steady. It can take any kind of decision, the right decisions it can take. It can tell the mind that this is what you should do, the right things. So, then he goes and says, at the end of this second chapter. Till now, he's only talked about the soul and how to attain that soul dimension. He's telling that right in the beginning you should be restraining your senses and the mind. Now he says, "Oh Arjuna, there is always, the mind will have lot of desire and expectation. Always. Because of the senses, because of the sense organs. Whenever we see something or we hear something or tasty things, we are always going for it. All our five senses are going. Now, he says that we are wanting such a mind which will be stable and poised, which will, the mind and intelligence should not have any kind of ripple. It should be like that ocean. In the ocean, what happens? All kinds of rivers come and flow there. But does the ocean overflow? Never. It comes, say in rainy season, with so much of force, so much of speed, so much of volumes of water is coming. Nothing happens to the ocean. Ocean remains absolutely still, as it was. Similarly, one should become like that. Let all the desires come, let all expectations be there. The mind should be such, having such ocean dimension, so expansiveness, that nothing happens to it. It remains absolutely unaffected. We become affected when we do not get what we want. We feel sorrowful or angry or hateful. But here is such a dimension like the ocean. The mind should grow to that kind of a dimension, the oceanal dimension, where that even if many kinds of desires and expectations and agitations come in, the mind remains absolutely unaffected, just like the sea. Then that kind of a mind, it shanti mapnoti. That kind of a mind attains peace. What kind of peace? Eternal peace. It's not a small time peace. That you go to a peaceful place, you go for sightseeing or you take leave, you go somewhere for tours, very nice natural beauty is there, no sound, you sit for some time and you feel very peaceful. And then when you come away, again in the midst of all hustle bustle, sound. It's not like that. This peace is eternal because you have gone to that dimension which is so big, so expanded, so unbounded it is, infinite, limitless it is. So those who run after external desires, they can never have this kind of peacefulness. This is also, he says. I'm not reading the shloka. These shlokas are very, very oft-quoted shlokas, in Bhagavad Gita. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam. Those who are only running after external sukhas, external delight, external happiness, external peace, they will never get this kind of absolute peacefulness. And ultimately, he says, Vihaya kaman yas sarvan pumams charati nispriha nirmamo nirahankaraha sa shanti madhigacchati. He says that, O Arjuna, now I tell you this, that to have this kind of a shanti, he has told about that unbounded, absolute peacefulness, where you are unbounded, in the unbounded dimension. It's like an ocean, achala pratishtam, it cannot be moved even. Unmoved it remains. You are unaffected always. To get that kind of a peacefulness, which is unmoved, that is, it never gets reduced, neither you can add to it. It is nitya, always, eternal, same. To get that, you have to remove your desires, vihaya kaman. And you should be living in this world, in the midst of all object, but without any undue desires, freed from all cravings, that is contented. Yesterday we saw, only contentment can give us this kind of peacefulness. We don't ask for anything. And we should be without possessiveness. Why we are agitated, We are possessive. When we get something, we want to hold on to it. We do not want to leave it. Yesterday I told you one example. One lady was saying, everything is okay. Now I am afraid whether something will happen. That is, wants to possess that situation. Similarly, we want to be possessive of everything. Possessive of our family, our property, our name, fame, everything. Possessive of everything. So we should not be possessive. When we are possessive, we become disturbed. Because always there is a fear. Always a fear of losing. When we possess, what is the fear? Fear of losing. So we should not be possessive. And nirahankaraha. We should not have any ego. With ego we feel, I have done. I have done. I have been praised. I know so much. I am so efficient. This I-ness comes. And because of that I-ness, what happens? You are constantly thinking, having a separate view for others. I am very efficient, that person is not. I am very intelligent, that one is not. He is very rich, I am not. So constantly there is a divisive attitude. That divisive attitude also brings in lot of dukkha in the mind. My neighbor has very big car, I do not have. And your mind will be thinking about how you can get that kind of a car and show off. This is what happens. Maybe it doesn't apply to any of you, but it applies to many. Many. We are constantly having feeling of jealousy, feeling of competition, feeling of intolerance, feeling of impatience, not liking people, hating people, trying to find fault. Even if somebody is good, we'll try to find out some fault. Suppose 3-4 people are talking good about somebody, say X. About X, A, B, C, D are saying very good. But a fifth one will try to say something bad about that person. Always we are criticizing other people. In our Shastras, it has said that don't talk too much. Especially don't talk ill of others. Somewhere it says don't talk either good or bad of others. Anyasya dosha guna chintanam ashu mutva seva katha rasamaho nitaram pibatvam. If we sit in a group, we are constantly talking of what? Not of the self, not of God, not of Brahman, which we have come to know will give us lot of blissfulness if we pursue it. Still we will be talking of all kinds of perishable, changeful and transitory things. And if you are in a group, it is said that yes, please talk, but you are not to talk anything about others. You will find within 1 or 2 minutes, nobody will be able to talk. Because always we are talking of others. It may be about anything. So, these actually don't think that, we do not want to actually see ourselves, our shortcomings. Why these books are also talking about shortcomings? Because we have to become pure. We have to become purer. We have to become the purest. Only when we become pure and purest, then the mind becomes calm. And in the calm mind, the self gets revealed. As I said, giving you the example of pebble in a clear pot, clear water. Similarly, when the mind is absolutely calm, no agitation, no impurity, no crisscross thought about others or other situations, what happens? The mind becomes calm. And in that calm mind, the self gets revealed. So, This is what he says, that you can have that kind of a shanti which is eternal, that kind of placidity of mind, that is calmness of the mind, but you have to restrain your senses, you have to restrain your mind. Do not have any kind of possessiveness, do not have any kind of ahankara, that is ego, and do not have cravings. Be contented, then you will have this. Now comes the question, how to become like this? How to become like this? It seems a very nice goal, but how, remaining in this world, we can also become like this, at least to some extent. At least every day we grow towards that goal. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, it says that all this has been said, that one has to go beyond likes and dislikes. Now, how to go beyond likes and dislikes? So, this concept has been given that the self is everywhere. It's not only that you are having your own self. The self is the same self in everybody. The forms are different. Just like with one electricity, we have a fan, we have bulbs, we have the aircon. If we had some gadgets, we could have some gadgets. The same electricity is running there. But the forms are different. Similarly, the forms are different, but the self is the same. So, to understand, to go beyond this raga and dvesha, one has to understand that there is the same self everywhere. If it is the same, then there is no divisional attitude. Suppose it is the same, only when we have something different from me, I will feel like possessing it. If everything is same, then who will desire what? Do you get it? When everything is same, then who will want what? So we have to then understand how to see God, how to see the self, which is everywhere. That becomes a pursuit. I think that is what ultimately it has been told in the whole of Bhagavad Gita, how to find God or self everywhere. That is the divinity everywhere. Whatever we do, in our thoughts, in our speech, in our actions, in our interactions, we are interacting with so many varieties, so many objects. How to find the divinity in them? We find that some people we don't like. Some people are very difficult people. We cannot manage interacting with them. Some places we don't like. Some situations we don't like. So, how to then have the samatva bodha, the equal vision for all, that equalness of the self? How to do that? That comes as a pursuit, and that pursuit is very good. It will tell us how we have to do every work, what attitude we must have for work, what attitude we must have for the whole world, how we should think of this whole world, which is nothing but the self, and how we will do. When we find something very great, very, very different from us, very powerful, then we have lot of reverence, lot of respect for that. So Bhagavad Gita tells, what is God? What is the magnificence of God? How from God alone everything has been created. Everything God is sustaining, and the dissolution is also there. So making us understand the vibhutis of God, how He is everywhere. He says that, take refuge in me. Whatever you do, think that you are doing work for God. Your everyday work and your office work, your household work, everything, feel that you are doing work for God alone. And why you should think like that? Because you have been created by Him. Who has created us? Created this body. Our body I have not created. Our parents have not created. Every child is in the mother's womb, but the mother has no role except eating and drinking. And that goes as the blood flow of the fetus. But the mother has no control over whether the child will be a very intelligent child or a dull child. Mother has no control over whether the child will be born healthy or weak. No control. Is it not so? So, is the mother creating the child? We feel the mother is creating. But it is not so. There is no surety whether the child will be born at all or will be stillborn. We cannot control anything. And the body that God has given us, we should be very, very grateful to Him. In this body, He has given us the limbs, He has given us the senses, He has given us the mind, He has given us the intelligence, He has given us the capability to work, He has given us the capability to think, He has given us so many emotions, sentiments, thoughts, all these things. As long as we were thinking that God is God and all these things are in the world, it is different. Now the pursuit becomes to see God in all these things, in our emotions, our sentiments, in our thoughts, in our activities, in our interactions, in our limbs, in our senses, in our mind, in our intelligence. Everywhere He is, He alone is. That is why we say God is all-pervading. We say this word, but we do not feel it. So what is the next pursuit? And that is the pursuit. To be understanding that He alone is. He alone is. Call it God, call it self, call it Brahman. He alone is. Everywhere. That is a pursuit. And so many beautiful ways Krishna has tried to explain to Arjuna. So many beautiful ways. You know, when we read this, always we say that all these are in the form of question and answer. So, we should feel that we, not only Krishna is talking to Arjuna, we are also sitting by his side, Arjuna's side, and listening, getting drenched by the words, the nectarine words, and becoming pure, holy, blissful. Okay? Sampurnam jagadev nandanavanam sarvepi kalpadrumaha gangam vari samasta vari nivaha punya samasta kriyaha vachah prakrita samskrita shruti shiro varanasi medini sarva avasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishte parabrahmani sarva avasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishte parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.